Taro. Today, we've got a story for you. A story about uncovering a pattern that was hidden right in front of us. A message, really, from the dawn of time itself. And the craziest part, we almost erased it completely.
I mean, think about that for a second. What if the most profound truths aren't in the clean, perfect data we're looking for? What if they're actually hiding in the mess, the static, the stuff we're conditioned to just throw away?
Okay, so let's put some numbers to this idea. You're looking at an estimate that somewhere between 30 and 50%, that's almost half, of all scientific discoveries are in some way an accident. This isn't just a one-off thing. It's like serendipity is this built-in engine for progress, constantly bubbling under the surface.
Right? And you've probably heard of some of these. Penicillin, total accident. A moldy petri dish that should have been thrown out. X-rays, a scientist noticed a screen glowing when it absolutely shouldn't have been. And the microwave oven, that happened because an engineer's candy bar melted in his pocket near some radar gear. In every single case, the breakthrough started as a problem, something that went wrong.
So that brings us to maybe the biggest accident of them all. This is a story about two scientists who stumbled upon something they weren't looking for at all that ended up changing, well, everything we thought we knew about the universe.
All right, picture this. It's the 1960s. Two astronomers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, have this one very specific job. They're using this huge radio antenna to map signals coming from our galaxy, the Milky Way. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But the second they turn this thing on, there's a problem. A noise. A persistent, annoying hum that just wouldn't go away. It was messing with all their data.
And they were convinced it was a flaw in their machine, so they started this massive hunt for the source. They were like detectives. Could it be interference from New York City? Nope. Maybe some secret military nuclear tests? Ruled that out. They even, and this is my favorite part, climbed into the giant antenna and cleaned out pigeon droppings, thinking that might be the cause. But even after all that, the static was still there.
So, yeah, the hunt for the flaw was coming up empty. This unwanted static just wouldn't quit.
And this is where it gets really weird. See, the noise wasn't just persistent, it was everywhere. No matter where they pointed that giant antenna in the sky, there it was, this faint hum. It didn't matter if it was day or night. It didn't matter what season it was. It was perfectly, completely uniform. And that, well, that's just not how normal interference works. This was something else.
This is really the core of the story, isn't it? It's that huge mental leap. For months, their assumption was, this is a flaw in our machine, an error we have to eliminate. But the reality was something else entirely. The question shifted from, how do we get rid of this noise, to a much bigger, much scarier one. What if the noise is the signal we're supposed to be hearing?
So they had this puzzle they couldn't solve. And then the answer came. And just like the signal itself, it seemed to come from everywhere at once. They happened to talk to another group of scientists from Princeton, led by a physicist named Robert Dicke. And when Penzias and Wilson described this annoying everywhere-at-once static they couldn't get rid of, Dicke's jaw must have just hit the floor. He knew exactly what it was. He turned to his own team and said, "Boys, we've been scooped," because the noise they'd been trying to erase for a year was the very signal Dicke's team was building a machine to find.
So, what was it? What was this cosmic static they'd stumbled on? Well, it turned out to be the echo of the Big Bang itself.
Seriously, that unwanted noise, it was the oldest light in the entire universe. The faint glow left over from the moment of creation, still echoing through space, washing over us 13.8 billion years later.
We call it the cosmic microwave background now. It's basically the afterglow from the birth of the universe. And Penzias and Wilson, just by trying to fix what they thought was a bug in their system, had accidentally found the first real physical proof of the Big Bang theory. You know, they even won the Nobel Prize for trying to get rid of pigeon poop and static.
And that just brings this whole thing full circle, right? The story is so much bigger than just astronomy. It's a perfect example of a pattern we see everywhere. What is the noise that we are all ignoring? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many breakthroughs out there are walking around disguised as imperfections? You know, how many world-changing ideas started life as a failed experiment in someone's lab notes, just dismissed as an error? And let's bring that down to our own lives. What's the static you're trying to filter out right now? That weird anomaly in your data?
That nagging problem at work that just won't go away? That unexpected turn your life took? We're all taught to tune out the noise, to focus on the real signal. But what if that's backward? What if the most important messages are whispers? What if they're hidden in that background hum we work so hard to ignore? Maybe the biggest truths aren't the ones being shouted at us. Maybe they're just waiting in the static. And the only question is, are we actually listening?